Roll 5.
Yeah. That's just going to be your thing now, right? That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Retro Dogfight, the podcast with old guys talking old Sims. I am your co-host, Brian. Joining me, as always, is your co-host, Chase.
Hello.
And your co-host, Denny.
Hello.
Now, friends, astute listeners may recall that at the end of the last episode, I was like, oh, we're going to do some old digital integration Sims. And then after we recorded, Chase and Denny sat me down in a chair, put a light in my face, and said, listen, man, we can't do this anymore. That's not what you said. But we have decided that it's kind of rough going to these really old rudimentary Sims. I thought they would be more fun to play, but they're kind of not.
These things get upgraded in your memory. And
Yeah.
I mean,
playing some of my favorites.
out of our past collection, the only one I really have any fondness for and am playing is Swodle, because it's a timeless classic, Secret Weapons. But yeah, a lot of those, geez, man, the B1s and the Hellcat Aces and just stuff like that. It's like, well, yeah.
I mean, we want this to be fun for us and for you. And Chase and Denny were right in playing like some of those really old Sims were not really fun. And we might do those later at some point. You know, I still have a huge list, and maybe there'll be a Patreon episode if we ever get to do those, that kind of thing. But for now, my friends, we're going to jump a little bit to the better stuff, the really good stuff. And we're starting with with a seminal, for me at least, a seminal sim, F-19 Stealth Fighter and its remake / sequel, F-117A. Minor. No, it was a pretty big upgrade. I would call it a pretty big upgrade. We'll talk about that. F-117A Nighthawk Stealth Fighter 2.0, I believe is the full title of that. So folks, if you're unaware, and if you're listening to this, what the hell? F-19 Stealth Fighter came out in late 1988. It actually came out the same day that the F-117 was publicly announced, which delighted the people at MicroProse to no end, because that was basically free publicity for them. You're basically flying, so in the mid-'80s, these model guys came up with what they thought a stealth fighter was going to be, because they were like little hints that the Skunk Works folks were working on something, and they made a model which was the F-19, and that's what everyone thought it was going to be, and MicroProse included. So they ran with it, and then the F-117 comes out, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's very different." But in 1988, F-19 came out, and it was, for me, I bought it in early 1989. It was my first real combat flight sim. Like, I had Jet, which had a couple of combat missions, I think, Sublogic's Jet, but not really a combat game. You know what I mean? It was kind of a Jet version of Flight Simulator with maybe a combat mission or two, but it wasn't really focused on that. So F-19 for me was the first combat flight simulator I've ever played. And so the base of the game, the basis of the game is you're flying a stealth fighter called the F-19, where you could take air-to-air or air-to-ground missions in 4 different theaters: Libya, the Middle East, North Cape, and Central Europe. And it's basically a stealth flight game, because you have to manage your stealth. You actually have to, different types of radar require different types of ways of dealing with it,
unless you just Leroy Jenkins them,
I kind of do. I'm like low and slow all the way. It's rare that I will be like, okay, this is really getting bad, I will turn toward or around whatever,
a Doppler or a pulse radar.
Yeah.
That was funny, because on our Discord we had a couple of people, newbies drop in, or at least newbies to this simulation, and you were schooling them because they were they were basically flying that thing like an F-15 and wondering why, why do I keep getting, should I stay at 1,000 feet? And you could hear the collective gasp from the audience, and especially Brian's like, 1,000 feet. My God,
what are you doing up there? What are you doing?
Right.
That's too high. Oh my God. Well, the weird thing is the previous game, Project Stealth Fighter, that was telling you to fly at 20,000 feet. And my brain broke reading that in the manual. Like, no.
Well, it was like I mentioned on the Discord. It's like the MicroProse version of the Stealth Fighter is basically an F-35 30 some years too soon.
Yeah,
because it's stealthy. It carries every weapon under the sun. You can air to air in it.
It has a gun. It has a freaking gun.
Right, it has a gun. Right, so the only thing it didn't have is thrust vectoring. And it'll stall out after one high performance turn. But yeah. So I could see that. Right, any turn, yeah, pretty much.
It is not turn friendly. But friends, yeah, this game. So you guys both played this back in the day, I'm guessing, right?
I did not.
Oh wow, really?
I totally skipped it.
Oh wow.
Same here.
That was my Amiga phase. So my flight sims around that time were F-18, of course, and Amiga Falcon.
Wow.
It was not on my radar. That was one of those evil IBM PC, those lamers with their EGA graphics and PC speaker sound, while I was running the amazing Amiga graphics and full digital sound.
And I missed it for the same reason. And one thing I discovered as I was revisiting different versions for this, I skipped a lot of the MicroProse Amiga stuff because their ports toward the end got really lazy. And they were bringing over the EGA. The Amiga had 32 colors out of a palette of 4,096. So games could look fantastic, but they didn't want to port down VGA because it was harder to bring 256 down to 32. So they would upscale EGA, which was hideous. There was no skin tone in EGA. Everyone had red faces.
Right.
It's like 50s sci-fi Martians. So so they would do these lazy ass ports for the Amiga. So I stopped buying. I thought like Red Storm Rising was the last thing I got.
Right. I had Red Storm Rising. I mean, it was, but you're absolutely right. And that wasn't just a MicroProse thing. I mean, like if you were into like the Sierra adventures, like Quest for Glory and stuff, it was all just rescaled EGA graphics, and none of them took advantage of the Amiga's hardware. They were just straight up ports, so the performance was often less, and they were ugly. So,
I had no idea.
And also, like they didn't bring out the Amiga version of F-19 didn't come out until a couple of years after it came out for the PC and the Commodore 64. And so by then it was like, why would I want to buy this older game that's probably a crappy port? But I was shocked. So I went back and played the Amiga and the MS-DOS versions of these. And we'll get to this in more detail, but F-117 is a really good port. They did bring down the VGA version, and it actually was the best version I played. It had smoother graphics and looked better. So,
and you know why? Because they had, I believe that was when MicroProse opened up a house over in Europe. And the Europe devs were really good at Amiga stuff.
Okay. Awesome.
So anyway, so I skipped this one. I think the first MicroProse combat sim that I really got into, as far as jets went, was F-14 Fleet Defender.
Oh,
I had tried the F-15 games, and they didn't click with me gameplay wise. But Fleet Defender was just amazing. I can't wait for that episode.
Mine was, I think, the first MicroProse was F-15-3.
Oh wow.
So kind of that which was the kind of a mixture of the old engine and the new textured engine. But I mean, before that, of course, it wasn't my first PC sim, but my first MicroProse sim was F-15-3.
Oh, it's funny. I skipped F-15-2 and went straight to F-15-3, but we will eventually get to that, I guess. So I just have a love affair with this game. So I guess as new players to this one, let me ask, what did you guys think? Well, we'll start with F-19. What did you think of at least F-19?
I didn't play it.
Oh, did you just go to F-117? Did you?
I just went. Yeah, I went. I mean, I skipped the vegetables and the salad, and I went straight to the main course. So
fair. They're basically the same game. There are some differences which we can talk about between the two, but Danny, go ahead.
Yeah, I did play both because I'm a conscientious podcast host, and I got time for that. I was shocked at there's a 2.0 in the name of F-117, and they really are very much the same game with some additions. The theaters are the same, the structure is the same, the interface is the same.
Pretty much.
Again, we'll get into what's new in F-117 when we get to that. But the base game, it's an upgrade of Project Stealth Fighter on the C64.
But everything is upgraded. Everything. Like it feels like a completely different game.
Fighter was 8-bit. Like we tried that, and we were kind of amazed that all those features were there, and wishing that there were more than 2 frames a second. When we did the 64 version,
and like better ground graphics and stuff.
Because they had to essentially do black and white.
Basically.
And correct me if I'm wrong here. That was when the Project Stealth Fighter was not done by Andy and Sid. And Andy and Sid, didn't they pick it up for F-19? They basically took Project Stealth Fighter and actually made a game out of it.
So
I think I'm right on that.
Sid was the designer on F-19.
Right.
And he's credited on F-117, but having listened to Sid's book, I believe that that he kind of had started to step back then. Like he was a designer on Project Stealth Fighter, but then he was backing off the flight sims by then.
Yeah,
Andy had a lot more to do with this one.
Yeah, I read the awesome. I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right on that. It was. Yeah. I think the project notes at the end of it. It's the F-117 project notes, and it's like, we took this great game that Sid and Andy had done, and we didn't want to break anything on it. So I love the developer notes at the end of those MicroProse sims because they really.
Those manuals
really went deep. Yeah,
those manuals, like F-19 is still one of my favorite manuals. Like. Period of any flight sim. Like, oh my god, I love reading those manuals. They're just a delight. But I'm looking at the credits for Project Stealth Fighter, and Sid and Andy were not on that one. So,
but they were on F-19. Yes. They're the ones who made it into a classic, and then another team took over for F-117 to do the polishing and changes.
Yeah. So. It's really amazing what they did because like Project Stealth Fighter was like a baby compared to like the young adult that F-19 is.
Right.
I mean, it's basically they had a 16-bit computer now, so they had so much more memory, next generation graphics power, so they could build the game they kind of probably wanted to do the first time. But the fact that they got as much as they did out of the 64 with Project Stealth Fighter, as crappily as it ran, just having those features in approximately 40K of working memory was pretty mind-boggling. But I mean, this is why I'm so much more excited for this phase of the podcast, because the only flight sim games I really played on 8-bits were the civilian stuff like Solo Flight and Flight Simulator 2.
Yeah.
Because for that kind of slow flying,
it's fine.
the computers had the power for it. The 8-bits did. Combat just was not exciting. There were not enough features. The graphics performance wasn't there for fast action. The graphics detail wasn't there to get behind another plane.
Yeah.
Whereas with these 16-bit computers, I mean, with the Amiga and even the early PC stuff, we start to get into some amazingly fun games that really start to require a lot less imagination to put yourself in the pilot's seat of a real plane. And,
like, I think this game spoiled me for, I think, just about any combat flight simulator going forward, because, so friends, the way this game works is there's not really a campaign. You fly single missions, you have a character. A lot of the MicroProse games did this for a while. You have a character and you fly single missions and you get up to 99 missions and then you quote unquote retire. Or you die. That's basically how it works. But every mission is like a little randomly generated. Well, the map is the same, but like it's like a kind of a randomly built world with planes flying around and boats doing their thing, like civilian boats, and they're like villages. Like each mission is its own little world that you're flying around in. You could like see civilian planes landing and taking off, and like there's just all this stuff. And like I think this game kind of spoiled me for flight sims like this going forward, because I really felt like I was in a world, like a living world, while flying these missions. You know, I felt like there was a pilot in that MiG-29, you know, and whatnot. And there's some guys in that SAM radar down there, because it just felt, you know, that immersive, at least to me at the time. And I feel like F-19 spoiled me. Kind of ruined me for Sims going forward, because I'm like, they should all be like this.
It was the beginning of a really good campaign kind of thing. Well, not campaign, but in this case, like single mission, but a little living world thing, because they used the same thing for Gunship 2000.
Yeah, very similar.
Kind of the same thing where, yeah, you have your pilot is being tracked, and he's getting medals and getting rank promotions. But the one thing that, I mean, I'll just bring it out here. The one thing that I did not like about the game was the fact that it was just single missions. And that can be an issue, especially like I was playing F-117 with the Persian Gulf, and on Full War, the conventional war, and it gave me the exact same target each mission. It's I'm going back to blow up that bridge again.
Okay.
That kind of turned me off, and I really missed having a linked war. Right.
Yeah, I can
as opposed to just because you can just go. It's like, okay, I'm going to fly a Persian Gulf mission, then I'm going to go play a Central Eastern mission, and it kind of felt disjointed. But you know, it is what it is for its time.
Yeah, and I'll give it credit. At least you do get to name your pilot. Something that's missing from all the modern new stuff. You have to name your pilot, and it does keep track of your missions and your sorties. And if you die, there's at least the consequence that you then have to reset all that.
Yeah, dead is dead.
So there's a little. It's not a campaign. Getting the same target over and over again is really crappy. I'll admit there. As far as like the dynamic campaigns, I have a mixed relationship with those, because like one pilot generally doesn't make that big a difference in a war.
Right.
So but yeah, I totally agree with you there. But I'm glad there's at least some tracking and affinity, as opposed to literally just single missions, which is what a lot of
everything else was prior.
And the stuff before it.
Yeah, this
just as a recall, did the earlier gunship started that, didn't it?
I think so, because they the developers were like, hey, we like role-playing games, like pen and paper role-playing games. We should add an element of that to these games. And
these games were also among the earlier games to start reusing engines, because this was way before the id engine and Unreal and all that, and generally a lot of games were written from the ground up every time.
Yeah, they were bespoke every time,
code being recycled in these MicroProse flight sims.
Yeah. So, folks, if you haven't played this, the objective is stealth. I mean, it's there in the name, but I mean, no other flight sim, very few. I think the only other flight sim I can think that focuses on stealth as much as these do is maybe EF 2000. Maybe because you have the MCOM modes in that one, you know.
You've got that. Yeah, I mean, in terms of Thief, the simulator, this is unique.
There's nothing like this. There's nothing like these two games. That's it.
But I remember missions in Advanced Tactical Fighters later on, where you do fly the Spirit or the F-117.
That's true. That's right.
And the designers did create a couple of stealth missions. But as far as be all end all, again, Thief, it is Thief backstabby the simulator, and not even so much a simulator is more of a game, which is kind of its strength.
Yeah, agreed, 100% agreed. And it kind of surprises me that there weren't other attempts at this, because this was a hit. Like, there were 2 strategy guides written about this.
Right.
One from Pete freaking Bonanni. You know, he wrote one about this game. My God.
I think it killed the market. In terms of just how the game was. I mean, the most that you could do is, update the graphics, and boy, wouldn't that be cool. A 21st century version of this game with modern graphics, but keeping the gameplay. But yeah, I mean, it was. There was nothing like it, and there was super popular, and I don't think there was just anywhere to go from there other than making it prettier.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and I or add more detail, which was not necessarily the thing, because I was realizing when I was playing these that the level of system realism was fun. Like, you had a radar, you had chaff, you had flares, you had to point at somebody to get them to show up on your radar, that kind of thing. But there wasn't all of this fine tuning your azimuth and all this other realism that we have now that requires 73 buttons on the freaking throttle.
This game
just to point a radar at somebody.
Well, this game, it was great. I think this game had a couple things in its favor in that regard. One is the tactical view, which gives you this god's eye view of everything around you. Like,
realistic? No, not at all. Fun as hell? Yes,
exactly. Yeah. Some kind of phantom AWACS is giving you all this information or whatever. And so you could see everything going on around you. And you can't look out the side, but you got that little camera that you could look left and look right and look back. And so you could see everything that's going on.
Yeah, and I will say, I think, Chase, you hit it earlier when you talked about how this is actually a lot like an F-35 simulator. Because you do have that now, because they have the data link capability. Like we talked about, MicroProse got it wrong. The F-19's not really a fighter and it doesn't look right. But if you look at how you fly this, having that full theater view, having bombs and missiles, it's the F-35. The F-35's got that because you can tie into the AWACS, you can tie into all the other planes. They share all their data. So it wasn't realistic for the late 90s, but it is what air combat's like now.
And it's and most of all, though, it keeps the player engaged. I mean, what other sims you're flying around and a little screen burb will say MiG-23 taking off from El Azid or whatever. Just little things.
Much.
That's just great. It's just great, it's engaging. It's it's just the little tidbits of information and being able to again, realistic. Oh hell no, but fun as hell. Oh hell yeah! It keeps you engaged, and it gives you that whole God's eye thing, and you feel like, and with all that information, you are deeply in the fantasy of I am in just the total unseen assassin. Raining death with absolutely no impunity and no warning from the blank skies. That game is just it is a power fantasy of air combat until you try to turn the thing. But stalls killed me more than anything else in this game.
I never did air to air in these games. I don't know about you guys. I never did air to air in the. I mean, I toyed with it a little bit when I first.
I love it. I love creeping up on some sucker, some MiGs out there, derp, you know, sneaking up on the 6 o'clock, and it's like, okay, here it comes. Here it comes. Open the bay for a second. And the last thing that that MiG knows is when that Sidewinder goes through his cockpit. So
yeah, but there are, like you were saying, there's so many little things. Like I love how when you're looking at the tactical view, and then you see. So, folks, in this game, you have like a radar thing that tells you how close a radar is to detecting you, and like it's. I don't know how they did this in 1988, but like a plane, if it's coming at you, like the blue bar for the plane will get bigger and bigger and bigger. But then when it flies over you, because they only have radar in the front, when it flies over you, it's like, now they can't see me. It's great. It's great.
Yep.
Just little things like that. Yeah. This game is full of it, full of things like that.
And that's the stories you're going to hear the most from people who play this is there's two types of radar in the game. I won't go into the details, but one to stay and your lowest signature you want to fly towards, and the others you want to fly parallel to. And these radars also don't emit at the same time or all the time. So it's like it is almost like a flight version of you sneaking around a guard looking the other way.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And it just works so well. I just can't. I've been playing these games for 30 years, and I'm just like every time, I'm just so immersed in these little worlds they've built for each mission because of the radars, because of the planes flying around. Like, okay, I gotta move a little bit this way so I don't get right in front of that fighter that's heading this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. I mean, and again, the feedback to the player is wonderful. You got two little bars down at the bottom, one for strength of air radars on you and one for strength of ground radars on you. And that little bar, that little bar will move left and right.
Yep. And you can also see on the map, like you can see when they ping, you can see where the radar is coming from and how big the range is and everything. Oh my God.
And I think one reason too that this game was really popular and probably got outside of just the core flight sim crowd was you had all the stealth stuff, but you could load your F-19 up like an F-15EX.
Right?
You could put 16 Sidewinders on that thing. And
you can.
And if you wanted to go in and just keep that bay open and broadcast your radar and just shoot things down, you could.
Yeah, if you said, and to backtrack a little bit, this is another beautiful thing about these games is the amount of choice you get in how you want to play. You can change per mission the type of war, the difficulty, the type of mission on a per mission basis. So like I want to do a strike mission, I want to do an air-to-air mission, and so it just allows the player so much flexibility to play how they want, which is just brilliant. So yeah, if you want to load up a conventional war, 16 Sidewinders and your gun and just go to town, you could do that. You can absolutely do that if you want to.
You may not live depending on the difficulty. On the earlier difficulty, you're basically you're playing guys who are you're playing against guys who are hooked up to their Walkman. Occasionally will look. They're listening to me. They'll occasionally. They'll the AI will occasionally look out the window or at the radar screen.
Oh man!
So you can just go out there and just go ham on. But at the higher defenses,
oh my God,
they are looking for you. Ooh. And the instant that line, that little bar at the bottom overlaps the danger line, they will send somebody out to see who's out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they must have gotten complaints about the elite difficulty on F-19. And to be fair, it is brutally difficult. Like, they will detect you almost as soon as you take off sometimes. Like, that's how fucking efficient they are at elite difficulty. But in F-117, you play an elite difficulty, it's like, no, I'm right here.
Yeah, okay, we're here. We're here. We'll detect you. Yeah. We'll detect you, but we're not really gonna go out of our way to do it. But that's which is kind of why I go. I like I said, I skipped F-19, went to F-117 because I had heard some of that, and I'm like, I don't. I don't feel like grinding my teeth on that difficulty.
It was kind of fun to experience in F-19 just because it was so fun and tense, and if you succeeded, it felt really good to get around those elite enemies. But it was brutal. I did not play Elite very often. I just did it to try it out. Man, I'm glad I backed up my pilot because on Elite they will. If they ping you, you will be hunted down and murdered, and as you should be, right? But but in Elite, they don't mess around at all. It's amazing.
I will say that I did play F-117 kind of like the way it's meant to be played. So I stayed on the deck, kept my bay closed. Just as a heads up for people who do want to play this, the waypoints will kill you. Don't be afraid to, creepy crawl around the edge of the map.
Yeah.
Hide behind mountains and pick your own waypoints.
Yeah, you don't have to you don't have to head straight to the waypoint. You can change I've never really got a handle on how to change. You can change the waypoints. I've never figured out how to do it.
It's like some weird combination. I think it's F8 and then use the arrow keys. But I didn't either. I just you're provided enough information to know where you are on the strategic map, so you can just you can just do the only thing. And obviously the designers knew this. I mean, these were not oblivious guys. So the limitation on that is fuel.
Yes,
that's the real enemy in this game.
yeah, especially if you take the 2-bay version. Yeah.
Yes.
But
although there is a refuel key.
Yeah, a cheater.
In the training, I think.
I'm just calling in a KC-135.
Yeah, there you go. Which is absolutely
that part.
Absolutely a stealthy aircraft that can go right over enemy territory and just top you off. Those guys will do it.
So have we covered the basics of F-19 and we should move on to F-117, do you think?
I'll just point out one feature that I'd forgotten had been a thing. That is in both of these, which is a boss key.
That's right.
It does not pull up a fake spreadsheet. It just makes your screen go blank and kills the sound. But kudos, I missed that feature.
Oh, I love a good boss key. I think they put one in Thunder Helix. I think the developer put a boss key in Thunder Helix, I think. Awesome. Yeah. So the base game F-19 was a huge success, but stuff moved really fast back then. And so in 1991, they released, 3 years later, they released F-117A, which is a much prettier version of the game, but it's also a much bigger version. They went from 4 theaters to 9. And I can only think of maybe one other game that comes with that many theaters by default, like maybe Falcon 3, maybe. But yeah, this more than doubles the amount of theaters. And it took a couple theaters, I think, from F-15 too. Like you got Desert Storm now, and you have, I think, Vietnam or Korea. I think it's Vietnam. So yeah, you got a lot more theaters. And the graphics are prettier, definitely prettier. They tweaked the cockpit a little bit. It actually flows a little better. There's a FLIR, F-L-I-R. There's a FLIR in F-117 that I never used. I never really saw the point of it, but I never used it.
Yeah, no point. Your direct TV is just fine. It always just showed everything. Yeah.
Direct TV.
DTV, man. That's what they called it.
Oh my God, you're right. And the interesting thing about F-117 is you had 2 F-117s to fly. You had the Lockheed F-117, which was the actual one, which in it you only had 2 bays and no gun. Or you had the MicroProse F-117, which is basically the F-19, 4 bays and a gun.
Which one did we fly?
I always took the Lockheed one. Yeah. I always took the Lockheed one.
Yeah. Really?
It's stealthier.
Oh my God.
It's harder to detect.
Yeah, but it's no fun.
Oh no, I disagree, sir. I have so much fun not being found.
I like air to air too much.
That's fair. No, that's fair. That's fair. I'm more of a dropping.
Because the MicroProse versions in F-35, you got your missiles too. So
yep, and that's what it wasn't so much I wanted to go out and like mix it up, but I always loved just having the option. So it was like, oh look, I just spent the last 10 minutes flying this roundabout method, and lo and behold, there's some MiG in my way. Oh, there isn't a MiG in my way anymore. Cool.
Well,
Oh,
well, folks, just to be clear.
One other
Go ahead.
thing.
Go ahead.
I was going to say one other thing. The ports of F-19 that came to other systems other than the PC later, they actually included an F-117 model. Because they came out like 2 years later and everyone knew what an F-117 looked like. So I played the Amiga version of F-19. There was an F-117 you could select and it changed the outside visual model.
Yeah, it does that on the PC version too.
But does it?
Yeah.
Not the very first.
No,
ones.
F-19 doesn't have.
No, 2.0 does.
Okay, yeah. On the new one, but on the
old one
release, it was only the F-19 because it came out the day that they actually unveiled the F-117.
So they updated the other ports.
The Amiga version. But the funny thing is it's a Lockheed F1. I mean, it's a MicroProse F-117. With
a different skin,
4 bays, and all that stuff. It just literally changed the visual model. Whereas this one actually gives you it basically nukes your capabilities down to what a real F-117 would do.
Now, I'm not sure. I just wanted to throw in real quick. I'm not sure if we talked about the 3 different types of wars in this game. I don't think we covered those, so I just wanted to throw that out there real quick. There are 3 different wars.
Yeah, we didn't.
There are 3 different wars.
Go
ahead.
I never played the war with that had you do supply drops because that sounded boring. Is that like the limited war?
I think that's limited war. I'm
Cold War, limited war, and then
conventional war. Conventional war. Yeah. So with Cold War, you're not supposed to be detected at all. You can only shoot at things that detect you. That's it. You can't shoot at anybody else. Limited war, you have a little more flexibility. You can take out like military targets, I think, targets of opportunity, but you're not supposed to. And then conventional war, everyone's fair game. Basically,
you want to drop a rock eye on a village.
Yeah, go ahead.
Commit war crimes. Go ahead, and your commander will be like, "Yeah, score. Here's your points."
Now, if you really want to rack up the points, you stay in Cold War because in Cold War you get points for every like mile you're behind enemy lines, which is not the case in limited or conventional war. So if you want to rack up the points, it's Cold War all the way. Now F-117, I'm going to be honest. Even though F-19 has a special place in my heart, I play F-117 all the time now these days because it's prettier, it's got more theaters, and okay, folks, we're going to do a little side tangent. Magic DOSBox. We 2 of us have tablets. And yours is an Android too, right, Chase?
I use an Android.
We both have Android tablets. And Magic DOSBox, my friend. There's a light version that's free, but the paid version is like $6. It's worth 4 or 5 times. I would pay $30-$40 for Magic DOSBox on the PC. I would pay a yearly subscription. I would. Because I play. This is probably my F-117 is maybe my most played game on my tablet next to Here's a Might and Magic 3 and Starfleet 2 maybe. But yeah, I play F-117 so much on my tablet because it's a good keyboard game. That's another thing about these games. You don't need a joystick to play these because you're not supposed to be doing if you're dogfighting in these games, you've lost. Basically, you're not supposed to be dogfighting in these things. So these games are great on a keyboard. Absolutely great on a keyboard. You don't need a joystick to play these if you don't have a joystick. They are fantastic on a keyboard, and that translates really well to a touchscreen with a tablet. So,
and just to point out, there have been countless DOSBox ports over to Android, but what makes Magic DOSBox different is that it recognizes that there is more ways to interact than just keyboard and mouse emulation, and it has a wide variety of widgets that you can add to your touchscreen, including a virtual joystick and buttons.
Oh my God!
So while you can play just using the built-in keyboard, you can also play using a joystick and buttons. And so my sim of choice these days has been the old Dynamics Red Baron on Magic DOSBox, because it has a sedate enough pace that you can kind of keep up with it. But yeah, the Magic DOSBox right now is really the way to play old DOS sims.
Oh my God.
Simply because it does include so many interface options that a lot more bare bones ports in the past have not.
And if you're playing on it, go ahead.
Can you connect a controller via Bluetooth so that you can use?
I don't.
I hate virtual controllers.
I don't know, because I was like thinking about that too. I don't know if it has a Bluetooth interface. I think it does. I know it has a specific buttons for physical mouse, and it tells you how to use a physical mouse on the help screen for like a Bluetooth mouse. But I'm not sure about the Bluetooth.
Yeah, I'm not either.
But see, that's not really thing I want to get into, because it's another piece of hardware to haul around. If I'm going to go that far, I'm just going to get a Steam Deck.
Yeah,
right.
That's how I feel about it.
And just play DOSBox on that.
That's why I love the tablet.
I've got a Raj Ally, which is why I don't bother with the tablet.
Right. So there you go.
See, I'm the opposite. I love the portability of the tablet. Just fling it in a bag and you're good. And I just want to say, Chase, I've been using Magic DOSBox for maybe 2 or 3 years. I didn't know about the virtual joystick until you pointed it out. And now I'm playing Gunship 2000 on it all the time, because it's so much better with a joystick than a keyboard.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I played Swodel on there. I found
yes.
I put another one on there. Red Baron's got, again, nice sedate pace. So I'm not really that good with the virtual joystick. And I play other sims, and it's a little bit too twitchy and too fast. But Red Baron for me is just that sweet spot.
The Aces game worked well. Like Aces of the Pacific, Aces over Europe, they work pretty well too. I tried.
But anyway,
go ahead. Anyway, so friends, if you have an Android tablet, Magic DOSBox, that's where I play F-117 all the time now. But F-117, like I've told people that like want to get into combat flight sims that you should start with F-117, because I think, because of the options it gives you, like the training missions, and everything. I think this is a brilliant beginner sim for people to get into the genre.
Yeah, and I'll say, if anyone is listening to this and didn't play these games and wants to go back, there is no reason to go back to F-19.
Not really. No.
When they call this Stealth Fighter 2.0, literally, this is just an upgrade of the original game. They added the new theaters. Yeah. They added a VGA mode that looks a heck of a lot better. And the
looks great.
The Amiga version also looks a heck of a lot better than F-19. And they find there's like the missions are better, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But essentially the controls, the plain visuals, the mission structure is all the same but better.
Mm-hmm.
This is literally a 2.0 version. So yeah, just go to F-117.
Yeah.
So I mentioned I was going to talk about the Amiga version. It's amazing because the F-19, it feels like a sloppy port. F-117, I told it I was playing it on my old Amiga 4000 with a whopping 10 megabytes of RAM and a 68040 processor, and they downscaled the 256 color palette down to 32. It literally looks just as good as the VGA version, but it uses the Amiga's graphics hardware, which Amiga Forever emulates really well. And the frame rate is silky smooth. It's so much less jerky than the PC version. So if you're going back to play it and you really want to experience what I feel like is the best version, get WinUAE or Amiga Forever and get the Amiga version.
It's a shame. It's a shame that
I feel like that's the best one.
I was going to say there's a shame there's really no good Amiga emulator for Android. I looked and there really isn't one. Because I love having F-117 on the go. I love having it wherever I go.
What's sad is the best way for Amiga emulation, because there's a bunch of garbage ports of UAE on there. The best way to go is with I think RetroArch, and that is just a huge kettle of fish in itself. But it does have a decent Amiga core.
Oh, I tried playing DOS games on RetroArch and I fucking hated it. I hated it so much.
Yeah, it's not my favorite
it's
either.
Horrible interface. It does so much. I tried to set it up, and it's just like, ugh.
It is, yeah, it is. I mean, it started out more as a console and a MAME emulator, and then they just kind of dogpiled everything on there with the same old interface, and it was like, yeah, the interface is gross. So I got rid of it.
But yeah, these games have a great variety of missions too. Like I love photography missions, and I love secret airstrip missions. I love those.
I would like to point out, because that's one of the things we get into, is the Switchology. We are now getting into the era of Sims having more than just a fire button, right? So I just want to point that out. It's like there's enough dancing on the keyboard and systems to play with to keep you interested. You know, there's chairs, flares, chaff, selecting your individual weapons, selecting targets,
decoys.
but none of it goes real deep. You know, throttle. There's some switchology there, meaning this isn't just a go forward and shoot things Sims, obviously, but yeah, you're making decisions on systems there about which to use, especially again since this is Backstabber the game. You know, oops, it's like crap. I forgot to raise my gear, and in my radar crap, I forgot to close my my bay after
I forgot to pull in my refueling wand or whatever.
That stuff. So there is switchology there to keep you entertained. So it's not one of the primitive Sims that we've been talking about. You know, in a couple of these in the last weeks. We are starting to enter the era where there is engagement with the aircraft systems,
but also with the world. That's the beauty of these old games. You're engaging with the world around you, which is why I love these old games. And some theaters have unique missions. Like my favorite theater is the North Cape because it's got these sub pen missions. Have you guys played those? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I didn't get to those far. I mainly stayed in Libya and the Middle East ones. But do you get fjords?
Kind of, sort of. But there's a sub pen.
Yeah.
In the North Cape, a Soviet sub pen. And every now and again, you'll get a mission to either take out a Typhoon that's parked there or to take out the sub pen itself, which, like you said earlier, is kind of annoying because, it's back in the next mission or whatever. It's back in 10 missions. They rebuilt it, whatever. But it's really neat because you have to come at the sub pen at a very specific angle. And you can't use like just any weapon. You have to use like a specific type of bomb. I don't remember now. But it's really great that like it's got like these kind of different, and I think Desert Storm is a palace that you can destroy. I think.
Do you wonder who's in there?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they're like these different like unique kind of missions, like taking out sub pens, but also like I said, the photography. And I love how, especially in the Cold War, you'll have to get there at a certain time. For like the ship is finished unloading cargo. You have to get there before the ship is finished unloading cargo. So you have a deadline to meet. And I want to tell you about my worst F-117 mission the other day that had this. I was playing an Elite because that's what I do these days, and I had to destroy a cargo ship before a certain time. And so I'm getting there. There's an IL-76, which is basically their AWACS plane, flying right over the goddamn thing. Right.
Oh, that had to go.
The goddamn thing. Well, I'm in a Cold War in a Lockheed in an F-117, so I don't have any air-to-air anything. So I'm about 100 clicks out, and the radar is almost to me. So I'm flying just above stall level, above stall speed to get my little bar, my little detecting bar lower and lower so they won't see me. And I got close enough to fire my harpoon, but I usually wait because this game is, I don't know why they do this, but like you have 2 levels of lock on in this game. You have like at range, it has a lock on, but then you get closer and it does double lock on where it turns red and you have a solid lock on, whatever the hell it is. And then that you're almost guaranteed to hit. You're pretty much guaranteed to hit at that point. But I couldn't get that close because this IL-76 was going to see me in like 3 seconds. So I just fired and turned toward my secondary target. And the fucking harpoon went right in the goddamn ground. Right in the goddamn ground. I was so mad.
But you know that it had your attention. You know, you had the pucker factor going, and
it's a story.
You can't say that about a lot of old Sims. Man.
It's a story. It's a fucking story. And then it gets worse. So I had FAE bombs for the second target, which was like a tank farm. And so with this game, you don't have a bomb site. You have a line at the top that gets shorter and shorter as you get closer to the target. And then when it hits the middle, when it shrinks to the middle, that's when you drop. And so I go up to about 1,000 feet, which is like, I'm already nervous because I'm at 1,000 feet. and I drop them. I fucking missed. Like, oh, fucking God. So yeah, my worst mission ever in F-117 was like 2 days ago. But it's a good story. It is. It's a one that got away story. Yeah, it's a good fishing story.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing that makes these things so much more fun, and that's why I have always loved a sim that has some level of realism over an Ace Combat, because Ace Combat, you just go back and drop one of the other 27 bombs.
Exactly. I mean, and then on the other end of it, you know, on the other side, it's like, yeah, my story is, I hopped in my plane. I drove for a half an hour and I got nailed by an SA-15. Okay. Yeah. That's great.
Another nice thing about this one that I don't remember seeing in any of the other planes or other sims that we'd tried at this point was time acceleration.
Yep.
Yes. I rarely use it, but it is there.
When you are flying the target, nothing's going on, you can speed things up, which is really nice.
There is also an autopilot.
And then I decided to go to the external view, which was new.
Yes.
And it's very cool given how low res it is, except for your stealth fighter that's coming in at night, sneaking in, has these bright green and red wingtip lights.
Right.
Oh, my
got this.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, and going back to the designer's notes on 117, there's this blurb in there. It's like, oh, Max Remington, our 3D artist, spent many long weekends on the most complex, 3D object ever in a flight sim. And then you go to it and you're like, well, I don't know, Max. I think you may be overcharged a little bit because it doesn't look great.
No.
I'll also say credit to Max Remington's great grandparents. Max Remington III is the best name for a graphic designer ever.
That is
an
amazing name.
And he did all the Sims up to I think his last one was Fleet Defender.
Wow.
So he was the in-house guy for 3D, and God knows what software he was working on to do his if he did graph paper, right?
Now, I did want to bring something up, folks. This does take a little bit of suspension of disbelief. It's a great game. It's very fun. But when you're flying in the middle of the day and there's an F-29 flying right above you and they don't see you, come on. Yeah. You're a giant fucking black thing and they don't see you. Okay, sure.
And you know what? You're using Maverick's anti-tank missiles as basically your default reach out and kill something missile.
Yeah.
So you're taking out a village with a Maverick or a big ass bridge with a Maverick. And it's like,
that's not how
what are they feeding these Mavericks?
Folks, I will tell you, the Maverick is pretty much the default go-to for a lot of air-to-ground stuff, but don't wholly rely on it because sometimes they're not available. So if they give you a bomb, learn how to use that bomb. You know what I mean? If they give you another type of thing,
a fuel air bomb,
yeah. Learn how to use
air bombs
that.
Are fun.
Yeah, they're very fun. Or the slicks are like the worst. But sometimes that's what you have. So learn how to use them because sometimes they don't have Mavericks because supply issues, immersion, and.
I mean, there's some decision making in switchology in that, the Maverick fire and forget, which is the go-to, but then you've also got dumb bombs. And you've got You've got like J dams where you have to keep the laser designated pointed at it. So
yeah. We just lost Denny.
Oh my God, Denny! They killed Denny, you bastards.
Okay. Hopefully he'll be right back. I hope he's okay. Oh yeah, there you are.
He is.
Discord decided I wasn't active and it disconnected me.
What?
That's nice.
Okay, there's got to be a setting for that. Sorry, folks.
Sorry about that.
We are using Discord to record this because it's most of the time the simplest way to go. But Discord has some issues every now and again. Apologies for that. But yeah, this game, F-117, I think it just gets just about everything right. I mean, yeah, you got to suspend your disbelief. The one downgrade I think that I didn't really like from F-19, and this is probably really unrealistic, but with F-19, if you get in 100 miles of your target, you could see it on the camera, but not in F-117. They've cut that in half. So it's now you got to get about 50 miles from your target before you can see it on the camera. I don't know why they did that, but it's like weird.
Yeah. It is one of those games where rule of cool. It does take place over realism, and a lot of times, and just being a unseen, instant death from the sky machine is cool as hell.
Yeah, air assassin. And like we were saying earlier, watching the world react to what you do is great because you'll bomb something or you'll
and they'll freak out and you'll get messages.
Like
MiG 25 being launched, taking off. Yeah.
I love to just drop a decoy to fuck with them and then slowly turn away. I just love doing that.
You can see the question marks above their cockpits. Yeah, that's a great thing. Like, it's like, yeah, try and blind me.
Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, it's just the way the world behaves around you.
It gets personal, which
it really feels it because they're coming for you. They're coming for you specifically, and they want to find out why that tank farm just blew up. And it's great. It's so great. God, I could talk about this game for hours because man, it's so. Again, I could just gush about this game because it just does so much right. It's not perfect. It's old. If you're looking for something a little more modern and prettier,
you won't find anything with this kind of gameplay.
Not really. I mean, is there a modern sim that has a stealth fighter in it? I mean,
we were talking about this, I think offline, wasn't it? But I remember doing stealth missions in ATF.
Yeah, like Fighters Anthology has those. Fighters Anthology has them, yeah.
MCON emission is really important in Total Air War.
And DF-2000, yes, in those two
and
games.
DF-2000, right. But as far as just the focused game, sneak around the guards, backstab someone, there's nothing like it.
I do have good news. Yeah. There's a guy making a kind of a gunship successor called Helicopter Gunship DEX, which if you guys haven't played, it's terrific. It's coming along very nicely. His next project that he wants to do is an homage to F-19. He wants to do a stealth fighter game.
Good luck to him.
So
on that.
hopefully, if that works out, we will get another modern take on this. But yeah, the newest kind of game like this is 34 years old. Oh my God. But again, highly worth it. If you have any interest in the subject, I mean, of course you're listening to this podcast. Of course you have interest in the subject, but if you haven't played this one, it's an easy suggestion. It's an easy win. It's on Steam. It's on GOG. They work pretty much right out of the box. We confirmed you can play it with a gamepad if you want. It works with a gamepad. But or you can play it on a phone or a tablet like we do it, or with an actual joystick if you have one. I can't gush about these enough. Do you guys have any closing thoughts about these?
I don't, other than, it's a classic. It's still playable. Again, it's old, but like I said, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast if you were, just absolutely had to have cutting edge graphics, but it is worth a revisit just a few times, just to sneak, creepy crawly around and just just that power fantasy. It is.
The
It is. It
engagement.
is. It is a flight. It is a flight sim power fantasy.
Yeah, the engagement with the world around you, like to use your word earlier, engagement is remarkable.
Yeah.
Absolutely remarkable.
What about you, Denny?
Yeah. I mean, as someone who hadn't played this in the day, I was surprised at how much I wanted to stick with it once I started playing it.
It gets you, right?
It's got a really good balance of. I think the fact that the original was based on a fantasy plane.
Yeah,
it gives you that F-35 in this old game. Which is kind of how I like to fly. I don't mind going after ground targets, but I want to be able to defend myself. And so flying the MicroProse F-117, the Air Force should have given the contract to MicroProse.
Dude, we'd still be waiting for it though. It would be like, it'd be vaporware.
Oh man, yeah. No, it would show up in an arcade before it showed up anywhere else. Oh my god. But yeah, you bring up an interesting point. Is another great thing about this game is the choices that it gives you. You could play one of the two F-117s. You could focus on air-to-air missions if that's what you want. You could focus on air-to-ground missions if that's what you want. It's just a beautiful, simple way to play it the way you want at any time, on a mission-to-mission basis. And it's just absolutely delightful. I wish more games did this. I mean, I know having a through line with a campaign is great. That's why I think Gunship 2000 is probably my favorite, because it has both. But
if you kind of think about it though too, what I was thinking about is a campaign mode, even though I would have liked one, maybe doesn't fit because stealth fighters are kind of one and done little things.
Yeah.
I can't really see an ongoing old school, World War III situation where you're constantly going to be sending these guys in. They're for initial strikes, and then you send in the Eagles.
I'm going to be honest. I role played it like, oh, now they need me in Vietnam. Now they need me in the Cape Horn. Now they need me in Cuba.
There you go.
They're ferrying the F-117 all around the world to these hot spots to deal with this stuff.
You're like the James Bond.
Exactly. 00117. Yes. You're like the James Bond. Exactly. Yeah, there definitely can be a little bit of role playing here, folks, which is great. So yeah, you can get this on Steam or GOG. They go on sale very often. I think I saw it for 89 cents on one of them a few weeks ago. So it is so worth 89 cents because I've been playing this for 30 some years on and off. I mean, this is the only sim F-19 was almost the only sim I played for 2 years until Mega Fortress came out. Like I dabbled with a couple others, like Chuck Yeager and LHX, but I kept going back to F-19 until Mega Fortress came out. But Mega Fortress is kind of like F-19, the bomber game, so it's kind of in a similar vein a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure we'll talk about when we get to Mega Fortress. But yeah, folks, I can't recommend these games enough if you've not played them. Again, they're cheap. They go on sale all the time. You don't need a joystick to play them. Very easy to play. If you can get over the old graphics, you could play this forever. You literally could play this forever. I've been having fun just doing a mission or two a day, and the great thing about playing on the tablet, just a side note, like, I'm going to play for 10 minutes. Okay, I'm going to close the tablet. And then you load up the tablet again and boom, you're right back to where you were. It's got that, it freezes it, has that sleep mode, which you can't do on PC really. I guess you kind of could. But it's nice to be able to I'm going to fly for 10 minutes. Oh, I got to go. I'm going to fly 10 more minutes for this one mission. Then I got to go. So it's really easy to do a mission or two in little increments every day, which I do. I do that. I play this on the John a lot. I'm going to be honest. I play this on the can all the time. All right.
All right.
What were you going to say?
That's a good place to leave it.
Yeah. That is a good place to leave it. So friends, next month, we're going to kind of switch things up a bit because we are going to try FA-18 Interceptor, which was an Amiga only sim back in the day that came out in, I believe, 88. And
yeah, it broke my cherry.
Yeah, I never played it.
This broke my flight sim cherry.
But I know you two, and every Amiga flight sim person I know, like when you bring up this sim, they're like, "Oh yeah, oh man, that one." Like their eyes
we get a dreamy look in our eyes.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Oh man, F-18. Oh, F-18 Interceptor. Oh man. So I'm very excited to try this one. I'm very excited because so many people over my years of simming have been like, "Oh man, that's such a good one." So I'm very excited. So that's going to be next month. So friends, thank you so much for joining us. We're loving revisiting these old games and making this podcast and having great discussions on our Discord and the website about these old games. It's just so much fun talking about this classic era of flight sim with you guys. So thank you so much for listening. Don't forget, you can listen to all the episodes on retrodogfight.com. We have a Discord, which is linked to on retrodogfight.com. We have a shop, which is also linked on the About page of retrodogfight.com, because it seems too early and presumptuous to start a Patreon. But hey, if you want us to start a Patreon, we'll do it. It seems a little early to do it. You know what I mean? But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to check your 6. Have a great one, y'all. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.